The ground did not settle after the collapse. It continued to breathe, slow and deep, like something enormous shifting beneath layers of soil that had no right to move anymore. The journalist stood at the edge of the ruined estate, unable to step closer, unable to leave. The silence that followed was worse than the chaos, heavy and watchful. He told himself it was over. The family was gone, their influence erased along with the estate that had anchored them for generations. But the map in his hand had not gone still. The lines no longer shifted, yet they pulsed faintly, as if waiting for something else to begin. He looked down at it again and felt his stomach tighten. The circle that had once been complete was no longer whole. One of the lines had faded, broken at a point that had not existed before. A new mark had appeared. It was not drawn like the others. It looked carved into the paper from beneath, pressing outward rather than written on the surface. The symbol was unfamiliar, sharper, more jagged than the rest, and it was not located at the judge's estate. It was somewhere else. The whispering returned, but it had changed. Before it had been distant, layered, impossible to separate into voices. Now it was clearer, closer, as though something had learned how to speak properly. Not finished. The words did not echo in the air. They formed directly inside his mind, steady and deliberate. He staggered back, gripping the map tighter, as if letting go would make it worse. "I ended it," he muttered, though his voice sounded weak even to himself. "It's over." The ground beneath him shifted again, more violently this time. A crack spread outward from the center of the collapse, splitting the earth in a thin, jagged line. From within it, a faint glow emerged, not bright but deep, like something burning far below. "You opened it." The voice was clearer now. He turned away, forcing himself to leave. Each step felt heavier than the last, as though the ground resisted his escape. By the time he reached the road, his breath was ragged, his thoughts fractured. But the map would not let him forget. That night, the dreams began. He saw the same pit, but deeper, endless. The walls were not soil anymore, but something darker, lined with shapes that moved when he tried to focus on them. At the bottom, something shifted, something massive. It did not rise. It watched. He woke with a sharp gasp. The image still burned into his mind. The room was colder than before, the air thick with the same metallic scent he had smelled at the burial sites. The desk stood where he had left it, silent but no longer empty. The drawer was open again. He approached slowly, dread building with every step. Inside there was something new, another piece of paper, not old, not worn, but fresh, waiting. He picked it up with shaking hands. It was not a map, it was a list. Names, dozens of them. Some were familiar. Politicians, landowners, people tied to the same network the family had once controlled. Others were completely unknown. But each name had something beside it. A symbol. The same jagged mark that had appeared on the map. At the very bottom of the list, there was one name that made his breath stop. His own. The whisper returned immediately, louder than before. Circle broken. The lights flickered violently, plunging the room into brief darkness. In that instant he felt it again, that presence, standing close behind him, closer than before. When the lights came back, the desk had changed. The scratches on its surface were no longer faint. They were deep, fresh, carved with force. The patterns now matched the new symbol completely, repeating across the wood, like a warning or a claim. He backed away slowly, his heart pounding. This had never been about exposing the family. They had not been the origin, they had been the keepers. And now they were gone. The thing beneath the ground had not been destroyed. It had been released from control. Whatever ritual had kept it contained, whatever cycle had fed it or held it back, had been broken the moment he completed the map. And now it was continuing without them. The list trembled in his hands. One by one, the symbols beside the names began to darken, as if being filled in from within. When one of them turned completely black, a faint cracking sound echoed somewhere far away. Then another, and another. He understood then, with a clarity that left no room for denial. This was not an ending. It was a continuation. The map had been phase 1. The collapse had been the release, and the list was what came next. The whisper softened, almost calm now. Find them. He shook his head, backing toward the door. I'm not part of this. But the presence did not leave. You already are. Outside, somewhere in the distance, something collapsed again. Not as large as the estate, but close enough to feel. The ground trembled faintly beneath his feet, sending a ripple through the walls. He looked down at the list one last time. His name remained at the bottom, unmarked, for now. The whisper faded into silence, but the meaning remained clear. He had not uncovered the truth. He had inherited it,